If you may recall, last month, Ghana's ambassador to the U.S., Dr. Ajay Bewa, told Joy News about the pressure on him to sign for the deportation of Ghanaians arrested for various immigration violations. In a statement issued last night, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana warned the country will be slapped with visa restrictions if it fails to comply with international obligations regarding the issuance of travel documents. Let me bring you some extracts of that particular statement. Now it says all nations have the right to enforce their immigration laws. And under International Civil Aviation Organization guidelines, the government of Ghana, through its embassy in Washington, D.C. and its consulate general in New York, has the obligation to interview deportees on a regular basis and issue the necessary travel documents. And it goes on to say that when the government of Ghana fails to meet its ICAO obligations regarding the regular issuance of travel documents, the U.S. government is forced to employ charter flights for deportations. And the U.S. government has repeatedly engaged the government of Ghana, that statement claims, in both Washington and Accra, and has urged the government to abide by its international obligations. And if Ghana fails to comply, the U.S. says that the issuance of travel documents, then the U.S. may be forced to begin implementing visa restrictions on Ghana in accordance with U.S. law. And they go on to encourage Ghanaians to abide by legal processes if they seek to immigrate to the United States. So those were some extracts of the statement released by the U.S. Embassy in Ghana. Meanwhile, Professor John Tay of the Center for Migration Studies in the University of Ghana, Legon, has asked government to negotiate with the U.S. for better protection for Ghanaians living there. He was speaking at a forum on migration in Accra.
The government should be looking at how to protect the rights of migrants. So we are asking people in the diaspora to send money back home. But for them to do this, they also have rights to be protected. The other things that are very important to them. So the government should think of how to protect the rights of migrants when they are in the destination countries. The migrants themselves cannot engage the governments, but inter-government negotiations can go on to protect. Some of the times people are even deported, but not in the humane manner. You just get somebody on the road and then you send the person to maybe a prison. Sometimes they don't have access to their belongings and they don't have access to legal systems. So these are some of the things the government can pick up. And then some of the countries of transit, we've heard about the situation in Libya and some of the situations there. These are some of the things that the government can talk about. Another area will be how to engage developed countries to work and ensure that the cost of sending remittances has declined. Actually, the Global Development Agenda, the SDG, is saying by 2030, remittances costs should reduce to about 3%. And now we say some are about 10%. But if you add exchange rate issues, so somebody is receiving the money which has been sent in dollars in the local currency, and then you are using the bank exchange rate, which is lower than the exchange rate on the Forex Bureau. If you add that together, if the money is small, the person is losing about 20%. If you send more, like say 2,000 or 1,000, it reduces maybe to about 8% or 10%. But these are things that the Ghana government cannot do alone, because the institutions or the banks and the financial institutions, the Western Union, they have their head offices and others in the developed countries. So the government will need to negotiate with some of the developed countries.